were speaking a lot about guns and gun control, and you spoke about the black population and whatnot. Look in the front row. Do you see anybody? There's 8 rows here. Do you see any black Americans?
I mean, since I'm not blind, no.
Yeah.
I mean,
and there's a thing to it, and I agree with you on a lot of things, but at the same time, like, what do you see as a solution? You always talk about a solution, like, come up with something that is understandable.
Sure.
Do you have any ideas? Like, what would you put in place?
To stop, to do what? To stop gun violence, or to change cultures of poverty that exist? Both. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because...
So the answer...
I don't think it's a gun problem. I think it's a social problem. So like,
I agree with you.
What do you see?
So what I see as the problem is, if you want to connect factors that lead to crime, intergenerational poverty, single motherhood, a lack of fathers in the home, these are factors that connect, just statistically speaking, in very high fashion to crime rates. And these are also decisions that are made on an individual level that can be changed. Meaning that if you grew up in a single mother home, there's nothing you can do about that. Obviously, it's not your decision, it's not your choice. But what you can do is break that cycle for the next generation, and we're not actually seeing that. Right? We're actually seeing this in the white and the black communities, and it's a real problem. We're seeing that in 1960, for example, the white single motherhood rate in the United States was 5%. Today it's 40%. In the black community, it was 20% in 1960. Today it's 70%. Okay, that is not the right direction. And it means that despite all of the growth in the economy, despite the fact people are much richer than they were in 1960.
Handgun rates are much higher than AR, which is...
What was that? I'm sorry?
Handgun rates are much higher than an AR, which is...
Right. But again, I don't think that it's a matter of...
Like, what would you
so my solution,
suggest?
as I said, is people making more virtuous decision on an individual level. It's not that a black person gets a hold of a gun and the gun starts going off on its own.
Amen.
Right? What happens is that there is somebody who's making a bad decision with a gun. And usually there was a series of bad decisions that led up to that bad decision. As I've said many times, if you want to actually alleviate poverty, if you actually want to alleviate crime, one of the things that you're going to have to do, here are 2 quick solutions, okay? Solution number 1 is that on an individual level, people need to make 3 choices, okay? If you do these 3 things, you will not be permanently poor in the United States. According to the Brookings Institute, 2% of people who have made these 3 decisions are permanently poor in the United States. That's it. Everybody else out of poverty. Okay, these people don't have babies before they're married. They graduate high school, and they get a job. Doesn't matter what the job is. Those 3 things, you won't be permanently poor in the United States. So you start with that. Okay. The next thing that you do, and this is really important, the next thing that you do is you dramatically increase police presence in high crime areas. You don't decrease it. You don't suggest, as Black Lives Matter does, that you ought to take the cops out of the streets where the most crime is happening. You make it safe for businesses to come in and invest. You make it safe for people to come and move in. You raise property values.
Good job. Hey.
The cops are not the problem. The cops are the solution.
Hey, Ben. Air high five.
All right, fine. Okay.